Good morning, my friends. Today I want to offer you some thoughts about non-duality. This time, non-duality in significant relationships and partnerships. When we fall into that attitude of needing to be right or finding yourself arguing a point long beyond when you actually meant to, but you can't let go of it. There are many examples, but basically what happens is that the ego in all of us, which is healthy and necessary for many things in this world, its nature is always to expand, to be bigger, stronger, better. That's what motivates us to do those things, in one way of looking at it. Interestingly, in the beginning of relationships, there seems to be a relaxation of that membrane around the ego and a much simpler ability to accept the differences between yourself and that becoming significant person. And as the relationship continues, essentially from the second year on, we start to notice where we're different, and the ego kicks in again. Maybe even starts looking for ways to change that significant other by repeating the same advice, providing additional information in an attempt to persuade, or some other way that is characteristically you. You know what that might be. You probably see it in yourself sometimes. If non-duality is the human experience of oneness, a sense of connection, the ability to identify with what is not yourself, it leads to an intimacy with everything rather than a resistance to it. And if this is true, what would it be like to experience your most significant relationship with more non-duality? It's pretty simple, although it's certainly not easy to practice. Regular meditation practice will help to give you a steady foundation that is needed in order to practice these two things. The first one we've talked about a bit is imagining yourself in a situation where you and your significant other generally have opposing positions or actions or ways of doing things. And they give you a suggestion that to you is just really not viable. Instead of talking about yourself, begin to ask questions about them. In sincere curiosity, actively seek to find something in what they describe to you as their reasoning with which you can identify, and share that, even while your ego is probably screaming at you as it finds itself getting smaller and smaller. You see, the essence of non-duality in a significant relationship is one thing. It is unconditional love. Love that does not speak with conditions at a given moment. That would be conditional love. And sincere curiosity is one way to arrive at cooperation. The second thing almost doesn't involve a whole lot of practice in terms of meditative practice. It's simply to do nothing. Say nothing, to correct or defend at that moment. Do nothing that your ego is screaming about, and instead for that moment simply listen or say, sure, let's try it that way, and become an active part in helping to make sure that you support your significant other's idea or plan, fully participating in that present moment. So for our meditation today, I invite you to call to mind an experience with your significant other where you ended up defending or attacking in some way. For reflection and focused attention, please sit now in your comfortable meditative posture. Breathing gently. Call to mind either a classic or a recent area of conditional love, otherwise known as judgment of your significant other and their thoughts or decisions. Really experience that memory. Breathing gently, in-breath and out-breath. You may find that you're feeling steadier now than you did at that moment due to your breathing. As you bring this to mind, practice one of these two ways of responding with unconditional love. The first is to be curious, with the intention of finding some area of your significant other's way with which you can agree and expressing it to them. Or you can imagine the doing nothing but listening. And if you ask any questions, they're simply to clarify your understanding. Much more quiet in this one. If it's something really simple, like the directions to get somewhere that you disagree on, you can do nothing by just doing it the way that they are thinking is the right way. What have you got to lose? So bring back to mind that situation of conditional love. And begin to imagine, in the next period of quiet, how you might bring curiosity, seeking agreement, or the philosophy and practice of doing nothing, except for gently interviewing to find out and make sure that you completely understand. You may find as you reflect and remember and try on a new way in your imagination that you begin to let go of the need to see either part as right or wrong. That there actually may not be two distinct sides of an issue, but rather there is overlap that perhaps you missed before, as the ego is always looking to be special or right. It's just the way it's made. And so we lean into non-duality, seeking that human experience of oneness in a very personal way by letting go in those moments and experiencing what non-duality feels like. It's not easy. As with all forms of awareness, reflection, and mindfulness, the experience itself of non-duality only comes from the willingness to practice it. Once non-dual experience is included in your relationship, you can call on it with another person is forever changed. Go look for it within if you choose to. Practice it. And just be curious about what happens and what changes. Namaste. Amen.